it's been pretty hot today so far. It's the first day of reaching 100 degrees here in Arizona, and we tend to reach that pretty early. And this is Chris's first time experiencing this. Not quite Arizona summer yet. It's getting there. This isn't really the deepest part of it, so we haven't seen nothing yet. But this is Chris's first experience with it. So
I love it.
Yeah, she's loving it so far. It's not easy to get out in conditions like this. No clouds in the sky, and like I said, 99% of the time that would be we're not going out at all. There's no need to go out. And we wanted to change that up a little bit. Chris has even brought out her macro lens. We're going to come out and just try and photograph what the landscape's going to give us. Doing things that I normally don't do. You know, my style is more of, you know, big landscapes and beautiful colors in the sky and golden hour and things like that. But I think maybe we need to switch it up a little bit when the conditions aren't right for something like that. I got my first composition set up here. I've decided to use my long lens. I'm at about 135 millimeters, and what I noticed about this area here is there's a lot of wildflowers that are still growing, and I have a little cactus in the distance here that's going to be my subject. And I got a shaft of light coming in and lighting it up. It's coming in between two big mesquite trees, and I'm shooting it at f5.6 and just throwing these wildflowers out of focus. And I'm using that bright yellow to frame this tiny little cholla cactus that is my subject here. So that's the only thing that's sharp. Everything else is out of focus.
So I'm going from one extreme to the next. I changed from the macro to the long lens now, and I'm hanging out here in the shade because I realized I really have problems being creative and, you know, come up with something that I really like when it is very hot. Thinking about going back and going inside and to a cool place and just rest and have a cool drink. I'm just trying to not think about the heat too much and try something else if I'm struggling with one thing. And that's the good thing about bringing more gear than you would when you're going on a long hike. So you can just, you know, pick anything that you have in your bag, any lens you have, and try something different and try to be creative.
I can tell you from experience, I have grown up here in Arizona. I've lived here my entire life, and the heat, you never get used to it. It's hot. I burned my hand on my camera just a few minutes ago. I had the D850 set up, and I left it out in the sun while I walked around a little bit, and I came back and it was so hot. Like Chris said earlier, it makes it hard to be creative when your brain's just thinking about how hot it is and not having, you know, kind of being miserable. I walked around with my Z6. Now the Z6 and the 24-70 f4 lens is not a macro lens technically, but I can focus really close with the lens. It's absolutely amazing. And so I've walked around with these flowers that are on the tops of these cactus, and I've tried photographing them. And what I really love about it is, one, I can photograph it in any light, really. I don't have to have clouds in the sky for it. And also what I like about it, you have these really sharp thorns surrounding this soft flower, and the contrast and textures is really nice. So I walked around, and with a bunch of different types of cacti, I've just photographed these flowers on top and trying to get those thorns in there as well to give it that texture contrast. And so far on the back of the camera it looks absolutely amazing. I love it. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's something I normally don't do. I don't take the time to do, and just being able to slow down and find these little details and take these shots out here when the conditions aren't great is actually working out pretty good. It's really allowing me to open up creatively in ways that I haven't before. what I'm doing with this shot here is I'm working just with the light, and originally what I set up to do was the focus stack, and it would have been such a pain with all of this prickly pear. It's everywhere. It would have been probably 10 shots focus stacked, and it would have been such a pain in Photoshop. To me, it wouldn't have been worth all the effort. So what I did was I decided to simplify everything and just work with the light. And something that I did at the beginning of this video was using depth of field, and I'm doing that right now. So I have this light coming in towards the top of the frame, and I have these flowers on top of this prickly pear paddle here. And I'm at about 70 millimeters right now. Actually, I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm at f8, but because I'm so close and I'm using a focal length of about 60 right now, everything is out of focus behind these flowers here. And I'm taking this shot, and I got some of that diffused light coming in from the top, so it's a really, really nice little photo. Instead of taking this, elaborate, really technical shot that would have been a pain to in Photoshop to stack, I just decided to fill the frame with this prickly pear. Not even worry about the sky, not worry about the saguaro that would have been technically my subject. I'm just using this with the depth of field and taking a much more simple shot, and something I think I like a lot better.